Imagine a world where humans didn't first awaken on Earth but on Titan, the largest moon of Saturn. A frozen world of orange skies and hydrocarbon seas where life emerged not from blue oceans, but beneath methane waves and haze-shrouded horizons. In a place so alien, yet strangely familiar, that it shaped the very essence of who we are. What if, billions of years ago, that world bore the spark of intelligence, and from its frigid chemistry rose creatures who learned to build floating cities on liquid methane, harness energy through organic-powered devices, and survive in conditions so extreme that oxygen would kill them? Yet we are their descendants, confined to Earth's warmer surface only because they abandoned their home when Titan froze. Across epochs, those Titan-born ancestors adapted to the slow chill, the dwindling seas, and a thinning atmosphere, until they made a voyage of exile, constructing sealed vessels propelled by solar sails and chemical reactions, leaving behind floating docks on ethane lakes and structures of frozen protein and organic polymers, launching into Saturn's ring system and slipping into the inner solar system, where they crash-landed, settled, interbred, and began new civilizations on Earth long before Homo sapiens evolved here, which means our genetic heritage might carry faint echoes of Titan's methane-tolerant biochemistry, enzymes adapted to cryogenic environments, metabolic pathways tuned for hydrocarbon chemistry rather than oxygen, and neural structures shaped by low-gravity environments, buried deep within our cellular ancestry. Those early migrants faced a new world full of water, oxygen, and sunlight filtered through Earth's nitrogen atmosphere. Over generations, they adapted, losing many Titan-specific traits while retaining fragments like pale skin, adapted to low sunlight, subtle lipid remnants in cell membranes, and mythic memories etched into our languages. Ancient stories of orange skies, seas of brine and ice, ancestors drifting through rings in the sky, all whispering of a distant home that we forgot, but never completely lost. And in those stories from disparate cultures, Sanskrit hymns, Aboriginal Dreamtime, Hopi legends, there might be direct references to original events more real than myth. Today, when modern humans build probes like Cassini-Huygens, dream of colonizing Titan with autonomous drones, dirigibles and floating laboratories, or explore methane coastlines with sealed suits, those aren't just scientific missions. They feel like journeys home. Every advance in cryogenic biology, life support systems for methane atmospheres, floating hydrocarbon environment habitats, and insulating polymers becomes not just technology, but a meditation on our origins. And if we step back and consider that our founding species may have once engineered floating platforms tethered to ice-covered dunes, harvested energy from red-filtered sunlight and organic oceans, and communicated using language sculpted by nitrogen wind patterns and crackling methane storms, then every future plan to return to Titan is more than colonization, it's pilgrimage. If our ancestors evolved on Titan, it would upend our understanding of biology. Life would no longer be Earth-centric, but multifaceted, resilient in extreme cold, thriving in liquid methane rather than water, and capable of intelligence in environments we long thought impossible. It suggests panspermia within our own solar system, not just microbes traveling between worlds, but intelligent beings adapting, surviving, and seeding another world with their genes. It means life is flexible, adaptive, and time-wishful, migrating not just in space but in form, leaving behind clues in DNA, mythology, and planetary exploration. Yet there is mystery. Titan cooled. Its subsurface ocean began to freeze. Organic seas receded, and intelligent life once thriving began to wither under cold and radiation. Those Titan-born humans made the hardest choice: stay and perish slowly, or leave, risking everything for warmer sands and breathable air. With each spacecraft sent into Earth's inner jungles, those who survived interbred and forgot. Civilization rose again, and Titan became a moon of memory, an echo in our myths, a world we rarely see except through haze-caked telescopic lenses. The implications stretch across disciplines. Geneticists might discover unusual gene variants in human populations, variations in lipid metabolism, enzymatic processes, radiation resistance, that resemble the metabolic adaptations we might expect in methane sea life, perhaps hidden in Inuit populations adapted to cold, or isolated populations sustaining unusual viromes. Archaeologists might unearth outcrops of fossil methane polymers in the Arctic or the Sahara that resemble Titan's ancient chemical deposits. Mythologists and linguists might trace common phonemes or motifs across remote languages, ancient words for ring, orange sky, or floating island that appear in African, Middle Eastern, Nordic, and Pacific cultures, suggesting a lost global narrative of exodus and New World settlement. It also casts a warning for our future. If Titan's civilization failed because its environment changed, its air thinned, and its seas froze, what does that say about our planet? Climate change might be subtle, but it is relentless. Ice ages come, oceans recede, carbon cycles shift. Terraforming Mars or Titan may be possible, but preserving Earth may be harder if we forget lessons from lost worlds. Our Titan ancestry might compel us to treat polar ice caps not just as frozen water, but as fragile archives of life, and to honor myth not just as story, but as encoded memory of worlds we once lost. Astrophysicists might see patterns. Saturn's rings could be partially the discarded flux of propulsion stages or wreckage from Titan's ancient exodus, dispersed over eons and frozen into ice. Subtle anomalies in Saturn's ring structure or gravitational resonance might trace a long-buried planetary migration. Space agencies might find strange isotopic ratios in meteorites and near-Earth comets, traces of Titan's chemistry embedded in carbonaceous chondrites, and realize that some of those organics were not primordial, but biological in origin, relic molecules from Titan's surface washed into space by impact or cosmic escape. If this were revealed to be true, it would mean humanity's genetic heritage is truly extraterrestrial, that Earth is our second home, and that our language, myths, and scientific pursuit of Titan and icy moons may be encoded deep in our collective memory, an unconscious yearning for the place we came from. Rather than colonizing Titan anew, our arrival could be interpreted as homecoming, reactivation of ancestral territory, reconnection with a biosphere ancestral to ours. And when the first human-born probe penetrates Titan's ice crust and discovers microfossils, biosignatures, or even ruins of organic platforms, it wouldn't just be science fiction, it would be cosmic archaeology. Of course, the hypothesis remains speculative until we send missions with DNA sequencers, cryogenic drills, deep subsurface robotic explorers, and chemical sensors able to detect non-Earth biochemistry. Until we analyze Titan's subsurface lakes and search for lipids or amino acids with unusual chirality. Until we detect traces of life that echo our own, but not quite. Until we locate crevices of methane ice-buried ruins. Until we find isotope ratios in Earth organisms that match Titan's organics rather than Earth's own ancient chemistry. If even a kernel of this Titan origin theory is correct, it transforms everything, not just our science, but our ethics, our myths, our sense of identity and belonging. We would become interplanetary by heritage, not by choice. Our drive to explore Titan would become ancestral, and the myth of the multiverse would become literal. The same species, born in methane seas and oxygen oceans, shaped by two worlds and destined to reconcile both. So when someone asks, what if humans originated on Titan, Saturn's moon? The answer would rewrite biology, anthropology, mythology, and planetary exploration. It would make Earth feel both home and exile, Titan both origin and destiny. And it would remind us that intelligence doesn't require sunlight, oxygen, or oceans of water. It only requires adaptation, curiosity, and the will to survive. We may have begun under orange haze and hydrocarbon skies, even if we forgot, but our future may inspire us to return.